Howdy, Banger pals. Blayne Smith welcoming you to another Overkill Reviews, Banger's weekly metal review show. I'm back this week with Death on Tuesday and Friday as promised, so here's some death metal. Today I'm talking about the debut album from GUTLESS. It's called High Impact Violence. It came out November 22nd on Misaku Unojo Records. I already told you it was death metal. I didn't tell you they're Australian. The band formed in 2018, and I guess they were something of a hot commodity out the gates because their demo got a cassette released by Maggot Stomp and a vinyl one by Misaku Unojo. They did a split with another band I quite enjoy, Mortal Wound. Then here we are, their first full length. So, how you going? Oh, that didn't sound Australian at all. Ugh. I can't believe this is a record where I'm going to say presentation matters, but boy, does presentation matter. A thing called High Impact Violence with a crazy cover of a guy getting absolutely beamed by a brick and his brains falling out his Humpty Dumpty ass head immediately has me pulling for it before I even hear it. So big credit to JW Hardware for this. Truly outdid himself. When I press play and it's good, that just means I'm already sold. It's not just that though. I think the cover really gives the thing a sense of character. The music certainly sounds like High Impact Violence. The majority of the sounds you're getting are very blunt, very a brick to the skull. It's not an album with any real let up either, unless you consider the audio clip from Videodrome to be letting up. In terms of sonic signature, their first demo being on both Maggot Stomp and Misaku Unojo kind of just sums up their sound. It's got the caveman stompy nonsense that you're guaranteed to hear when you press play on a Maggot Stomp release, which is okay. I like Maggot Stomp as an entity. I'm happy they exist. I like that they're doing the work they do. I just find their releases can be a little flat sometimes, but in swoops the Misaku Unojo side of things to bring that little twist of wacky that's more my speed. If you're confused by what any of this means, this might be a bit of an acquired taste release that you're not going to mesh with, but hey, you tell me. If this is where you're jumping into the death metal pond, I hope you brought a floaty. If you've never heard of K9s, they were sort of a meme band before people ever used the word meme. They were a death grind band that had two pit bulls doing vocals, which is just nice. It's cute. It's heartwarming. If you told me Tom Caldwell was a dog, I'd say that's a pretty formal name for a dog, but yeah, that sounds about right otherwise. Until I notice in the liner notes he plays guitar, then the jig is up. Dogs do not play guitar. They don't need to. They can skateboard, and that's way cooler. Very long way of saying he really barks out his vocals on here. It's almost as if Chris Barnes still had a voice, and I mean that as a compliment, Tom, I swear. I was a little worried when I heard just one track that this was going to get a little grating over the course of a full album, but I was pleased to find that I enjoyed it all the way through. That could be because it's a 26-minute record, so it's not like we got to spend a boys' weekend together at the cottage. It's more like we pissed at urinals beside each other at the truck stop and then went our separate ways. He does manage to mix up his vocals more than a lot of death metal vocalists try to, surprisingly. He always sounds like a barking dog, but it's like a variety of breeds of barking dog. We do get a sharp sound to go with the blunts, so wets with our dries, if you will. The guitars frequently squeal in a shank to the guts counterpoint to the brick to the skull. This is probably the most important part of the record because I wouldn't be able to listen to stuff this blunt without something to break up the sound. Every little squeal and dive bomb is the acid that cuts the fat of the dish in your mouth. It's still a greasy burger of an album, but it's a greasy burger made by someone who knows how to cook. Yeah, they cook. Nice. Alan Stacey is listed as the guitar player, and before that, he's on Metal Archives as doing nothing at all, like not even the earlier Gutless releases. I don't see how that's possible because he's great, but hey, if this is your first album ever, dude, way to work, homie. You nailed it. He's got chops and taste. The band doesn't go crazy mixing up tempos. There's no real death so slow it's bordering on death doom or anything. So how he's changing his playing is mainly responsible for the texture on the album, and he nails it. Not that the rest of the band ain't up to snuff or nothing. Ollie Ballantyne's drums are super fun, and I love that trash can of a cymbal he's got. But yeah, let's have a little guitar solo, shall we? I'm sure basically anyone touching this record has a pretty good idea what they're signing up for, but it does need to be said, this is some real caveman shit through and through, front to back, snout to tail, mouth to ass. I don't see that as a problem personally. I quite enjoy it. But there are bands who've managed to deliver stuff like this with a few more twists and turns. Usually they are more senior though. I think they've created a really strong base for their first album. So it's not so much a knock against the guys. It's more of a warning label for you, the consumer. If you just buy records to buy records, this might be an issue to you. But if you're the type of person who likes to get in on a band on the ground floor, this is welcome to the lobby. The lobby's very well made. The lobby has someone threw a brick through the window of the lobby, but other than that, it's immaculate. You're gonna have a great time. What I can excuse a little bit less is the runtime. You know me, I hate an overlong album, and my advice to any band is trim. But 26 minutes. That's not a circumcision. You damn near cut the whole dick off. I know there's no like the hard line between EP and full length. It's all gray. It depends on your style that you're playing. A Funeral Doom EP is a grindcore double album, but 26-minute death metal release feels like an EP to me. 31 minutes? Wow, what a fun rip. 26 minutes? You're adjusting the fonts and margins on your essay, but it's sitting with all the other essays, so I can see it. This is an awesome debut album for a band, and it's already given them an identity due to its great package. I hope they make it to North America sometime for me to catch a show. I hope they do some merch with the album cover on it, because the shirt of theirs I really want is this one. Very good front and back, but unfortunately it's sold out. Musically, to me, they created a 4. God, unfortunately, that runtime does bug me a bit, and I feel like I've got to chop off half a point. But if you don't care if a record is 26 minutes, I know there's some people that'll hear 26-minute record, I'm in. It's a solid 4 that you should definitely pick up. If you're watching your pennies, I'd say listen to it once all the way through before you buy it. Still could be a great buy for you. Giving it a 3.5 out of 5 skulls, getting hit by a brick. And let me know in the comments below, is 26 minutes for a death metal band of the album, or is that an EP? What do you think? 26-minute runtime. How do you feel about the record? But before you get down there and comment and like and subscribe and all that, I've got shout-outs for you. This is Death Metal Month after all, so I've got 3 death metal records for you. Cryptorium, Descent into Lunacy on Personal Records coming out on the 29th. Rot Pit, Long Live the Rot on War Anthem Records coming out on the 29th. And Scythro, Blameless Severed Extremities on Awakening Records coming out November 29th. So more death metal. And Friday I'm back with more death metal, though it's got a bit of a twist.